FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is February 25th, 2020. Month is almost over. This truly has been an insane month. When I woke up yesterday morning, price of gold was up nearly $50 the ounce. It retreated quite a bit. The boys have been doing their magic, and as of when I made this recording, price of gold still over $16.50 the ounce at $16.55, up $12 an ounce. Silver up just 9 cents. I'll tell you, now that is change you can believe in. But nonetheless, nothing is going to stop this. If it were just the coronavirus or the assassination of Soleimani, etc., that would be one thing. Well, before I get into it, hey, it's time for another Triple Let's Report. This is episode 478. And I love to get your feedback, your questions. I've been lagging a bit in returning your messages. So look, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening on the site, whatever, send me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, or publish a comment, and I will give you feedback on the comment, I promise. Anyway, so getting back to this, I remember a couple of weeks ago, actually it was like over a month ago, when the U.S. forces took out Soleimani, the evil general from Iran. And at that moment, that night, gold went up over $1,600 the ounce, and then it pulled back. And I asked my partner, Bill, I said, Bill, why do you think the price of gold went up to $1,600 the ounce? And he said, well, of course, it's because Soleimani was taken out. Now, what I've come to realize from the cycle people on the show, guys like Nenner, guys like Martin Armstrong, is that the news does not dictate the cycle. The news doesn't dictate the price. Rather, the cycle dictates the news. And here's a case where they take out Soleimani. Gold was getting ready to break through 1,600. It did it. And everybody just poo-pooed it, saying, oh, it's just geopolitical problems, U.S. and Iran. But nothing could be further from the truth. The price of gold was ready to break 1,600. It did. Then it pulled back $30, $40 an ounce. Here we are a month later, and gold is at $16.55. And if you ask people why, they will tell you the coronavirus, the evil, dreaded coronavirus. I'm concerned about it. Hopefully it's not going to strike America, but it probably will. It's spreading across the world. They're saying it could lead to millions of deaths. Every year in the United States, between 20 and 60,000 people per year die from the flu. And right now, the flu obviously doesn't have anywhere near the mortality rate of the coronavirus. But the fact is, haven't supposedly had that many deaths here. Haven't heard of any deaths in the United States, and I could be wrong, but correct me if I am. No deaths due to the coronavirus. But I'm only mentioning this as an indication of where the gold price is headed. It's really kind of remarkable to see it. And it's up. It's way, way up from where it was a year ago. You know, it's over 20%. If we look at Kitco, we see that the price of gold, 1 year change. And understand, last year, this is the seasonally strong part of the year, the end of Q4, beginning of Q1. But from exactly 1 year, we're up $328 the ounce, 24.7%. 30-day change, we're up $84 plus per ounce, 5.5%. And again, I say this is due to the cycles, not due to the news. And right now, the stock market way, way down. You know, lost close to 1,000 points the other day. And my feeling still is it's got a ways to go. I really believe that it's probably going to come back. Should you be betting on that? No, I'm not. I wouldn't be betting on it either. I'm viewing it from the armchair quarterback perspective that the coronavirus, everything else only brings more money into the United States. Whatever the rush of money was coming out of the People's Republic of China has simply increased as a result of the coronavirus. More money floating, fleeing Europe. Brexit has occurred. Now you've got other countries threatening to withdraw. All of that is adding to the U.S. markets and helping keep the United States afloat, quite frankly. It remains to be seen, but I think the stock market could very well end this in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then go back up. But again, I'm not perfect. I am not the guy to talk to about this. Check out Nenner, check out Martin Armstrong, and there seems to be a divergence in their opinions. So I just want to share a story with you, what happened to me recently, because I think it's instructive and it could help you, or at least make you aware of what can happen. So I'm getting older. I've got metabolic syndrome, which means high blood sugar, pre-diabetes, lost some weight, so that's kind of in check. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I'm taking medications for all of it. It's all pretty well in check. Well, my son was kind enough to drop his dog off 7 months ago, Atticus. He's half black lab, half pointer. He's a great dog. I've been walking this dog 2 to 3 miles every day. Now, my blood pressure had been really high. I was like in stage 2 hypertension, and I took a new medication, a diuretic, and it brought it down immediately to 120/75, which when I was a younger person and wasn't suffering from metabolic syndrome, that was basically about my blood pressure. And thinking, well, hey, I'm walking the dog, all this other thing. I go to another doctor. She says, you need to take these pills. And I don't want to get into the diagnosis. It doesn't really matter. But she said one of the things is it could make you a little lightheaded. It'll help your blood pressure, though. I said, oh, great, blood pressure, sure. At the same time, I lost about 7 pounds from when I saw her. So a combination of higher level of activity, walking 2-3 miles, walking the dog, losing weight, and a lot less stress in my life, and more activity, all these things. I go to the doctor like a month and a half ago, and my blood pressure is at 100 over like 70 something. It's never been that low, even when I was a kid. And I wasn't really concerned about it. I just said, oh, well, that's good. My blood pressure is going down. I'm more active, lost weight, all these great things. Well, lo and behold, I start finding myself to be very tired, and I'm sleeping a lot. After I do my show at 3 p.m, I go up and lie down on my recliner and I pass out for an hour. And then I go to sleep, same time, like 11:30, but I might take another nap in the afternoon. And the weekends, I'm napping pretty much throughout the weekend when I'm not out active. And I'm waking up really tired, exhausted. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I got sleep apnea. I don't know. And I go to the doctor last week, and my blood pressure again is 100/65. And then I go to another doctor a couple hours later. My blood pressure is like 96/65. And I look it up, and sure enough, side effects of low blood pressure. There's a lot like nausea, diarrhea. I didn't have any of that, but fatigue is it. So I go to my cardiologist. He's a great guy in Palm Beach County. Literally, I found him on the internet. They come from all over the world to see this guy, Dr. Chauncey Crandall IV. He's amazing, interventional, but he's really into health and all that. And I say, my blood pressure is really low, and I think I am getting side effects from it, fatigue, etc. So he takes me off of the diuretic, and it's like somebody turned on a light switch. All of a sudden, I got more energy than I know what to do with. My sleep goes back down to 6 hours a night. That's basically what I require, 6 to 7. I could go 8. I could also go 3 to 4 hours kind of for weeks, but then it's going to catch up and hit me. And I have so much energy now. It's amazing. And it was all due to the interaction of these drugs. I don't know what would have happened to me if I had continued on and kept taking it, but it's really weird because it didn't just hit me at once. It was progressive. It really progressed over time, and it made me really, I didn't know what was happening. If it had just hit me the day I took it, I would have known, and that, I would have definitely been more aware of it. But the fact is, it came over a period of like 2 months, and it built up and built up. And finally, I realized, oh my God, I am not feeling well. It's not that I felt bad. I felt fine when I was awake. Energy was lacking. So I'm just sharing this point with you because if you're on several different medications, I'm not on a lot, but for a couple of different things, the blood sugar, high blood pressure, I take some supplements as well. But if you're on a bunch of drugs, you need to periodically review them, not just with your doctor. If you have a specialist, review it with them. If you're getting any side effects, be aware of it. All right, look and really keep track of this stuff. Don't let it get past you. It just progressed so gradually that I wasn't even aware of it until at that point, it was really too late. And thank God it wasn't too late that I wound up in the hospital or something like that. But it was really a little bit scary because if I had let it go further, it could have been really, really serious. So when you're on these medications, the goal should be to figure out how to get off, which for me, it's really just a question of losing weight. If I lose weight, blood pressure goes down to normal, everything. Exercise, I've been exercising for the past 37 years, so that's not the issue. I get enough activity. I'm very active in my life. I've got more energy than people 20 years younger than me. And now that all my kids are grown, a lot of other things have fallen into place. My stress level is incredibly low. And yet this thing snuck up on me, caught me from behind, and really started to affect the quality of my life. So I would just urge you, if you haven't reviewed all the drugs, prescription drugs you're taking now, please review them. Review them with your doctor, your specialist, and review them with your pharmacist. And go on the internet and look at the potential side effects and whether they can have a synergistic kind of effect where that really messes you up because it greatly increases what effects they would normally have. So I just say that as a point of warning. So I don't want to get too much into the political scene, but it's really impossible at this point not to. So remember, I told you that we're heading for a brokered convention. Bernie won Nevada. He won the caucuses there. They're still counting. They can't figure out how to count all the votes in a day. I mean, I just don't understand this. This is pure and complete party incompetence, but maybe by design. What I still say is going to happen is the brokered convention. Remember, I had this theory 3 months ago before anyone else. Think about why Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Buttigieg, isn't dropping out. He can't win. He has no chance. Biden hasn't dropped out. He has no chance.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Osino Resources is a Ross Beatty-backed gold exploration company in mining-friendly Namibia. Osino's district-scale land package is situated near 2 producing gold mines, one of which Osino's management team previously developed and sold to B2 Gold. Osino's founders and management are experienced mining professionals who have already successfully developed and sold 2 companies in the past 7 years. Osino has a tight share structure, and with its current treasury, it can self-fund the advancement of its gold discovery into at least 2022. This is an exploration company with drills turning that you'll definitely want to pay attention to. Osino trades in New York under the ticker OSIIF and in Toronto under the ticker OSI. To learn more, go to osinoresources.com. That's osinoresources.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, hasn't dropped out. She has absolutely no chance, even though she eviscerated poor Nanny Bloomberg. Klobuchar, again, no possible chance of winning. Where are they getting the money to keep their campaigns running? They're being financed by somebody. And like I said, it's Machiavellian. Somebody's behind the scenes. For a while, I thought it might have been Bloomberg, that he was the mini wizard, mini Mike, behind the curtain, pulling the levers of power. But maybe he's being used as well. The point is, they cannot allow Bernie McGovern to get this nomination. If they do, it's going to be an even bigger landslide then Nixon against McGovern, then Reagan against Mondale, or for that matter, Bush against Mike Dukakis. Those are the three biggest Democrat losers over the past 30, 40 years. When you look at it, yeah, Reagan also beat Carter. It wasn't that big a landslide. It'll be a bigger landslide than anything you've seen from Obama, from Clinton against Dole. It's going to be way, way bigger than any of them. And one of the biggest reasons is if Bernie does manage to survive and get the nomination, well, none of the Democratic elites are going to be on his side. Now, think about this. We know that the Democratic Party is very creative when it comes to getting votes. Some might even call it voter fraud. The voter fraud wing, which is the Carvel wing, the elites, the senior members of the Democratic Party, do you think they're going to be creating votes for Bernie? It's never going to happen. So we will get a true measure of the Democrat support because the number of manufactured votes are just going to go way, way, way down. Yeah, maybe some of the lower level people who think Bernie's great will do the usual Democratic thing, however they do it. I mean, I know like in places like Philadelphia, they have polling places set up in restaurants, and then they wait until after everyone's voted and then pull the lever a bunch of times for their favorite candidate. In Florida, I remember when I moved down here in 2012, there was a polling station set up in a nursing home. And I'm sure that most of the people there, they just kept voting because they couldn't remember whether they voted or not. They voted early and often. And this is the kind of thing that you see. But point is, if Bernie is allowed to get the nomination, he will be Bernie McGovern because he is going to lose by a zillion votes. Just today, to help further garner votes, just yesterday, I should say, for help him get more votes in Florida, he was praising the Castros, praising Cuba for their wonderful educational system. But like to the Democrats, an educational system that indoctrinates the youth and tells them how the United States is the root of all evil and that this is a worker's paradise and is heaven on earth. That's not exactly my idea of education. But for the left, that's perfect education, re-education camps. They're big proponents of them, all of these things. So when you watch this, just understand that the plan is to split it up, but they may just decide it's so hopeless that they can't really get a candidate. Even if it's Hillary, it's never going to be Michelle Obama. Forget about that, because that would require the disclosure of how many billions of dollars they've taken in since Obama left the White House. It's just never going to happen. She hated the White House. Not going to be her. Hillary is willing to go for it. I just think that they're between a rock and a hard place. They're kind of like, the fire's coming up the building. Do you wait for it to burn you up and go to heaven, or do you jump and go to heaven? You kind of have no choice because either way you're dead. And that's what the state of the 2020 race is for the Democrats. They have no chance here. I'm not going to espouse all the wonderful things that Trump has done. You can agree or disagree with it. I mean, the debt is out of control and eventually will be our downfall and the downfall of the dollar. But maybe this coronavirus is going to take out our biggest competitor, China, cause an upheaval in their system. People are pissed. Hundreds of millions of people under quarantine. They're lying about the death rate, everything. They're lying about the infection rate. All of these things are happening. So it very well might be that the result of the coronavirus is the reinforcement, reestablishment of U.S. hegemony. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Maybe the Chinese communists will figure out a way to get through this, but everything has been going wrong for the Chi-Coms as of late. It looked like they were going to own the world, the Belt and Road Initiative, all these things. It looked like it was theirs for the taking, and the United States was just giving it to them with two hands. And what happens? Well, what happens is that first Trump confronts them, decides that it's time to have a showdown with Xi, with all sorts of things, with tariffs, with policies, with intellectual property, with spying, all these things. And then what happens? We get the coronavirus, we get the swine flu, the Asian flu, which has resulted in half of China's herd of hogs being slaughtered because it's so contagious. And Asia is looking pretty risky now. And then their economy has been in the tubes. Their so-called economic growth, whatever they might have had, they don't have anywhere near that now. If they do, the other thing that was shocking is the number of entrants, people coming into the Hong Kong airport from around the world. Used to be 250,000 people a day. Now it's down to 4,200. Recently in Zero Hedge, there's an article that says that most of the small businesses in China will run out of cash between 30 to 90 days. Now, China's trying to order people back to work, but they refuse to go. They won't do it. They absolutely refuse because they don't want to get infected. And now the disease is spreading to other parts of the world, to Europe, to Iran, to South Korea. South Korea is shut down. All these things. So when you start thinking about Chinese hegemony, maybe it's not going to happen so fast, or maybe this is according to the plan. The Chinese government falls, they get a so-called democratic or freer country, and then they take it over. I'm not sure, but you need to keep an eye on that because it's a big deal. You need to keep an eye on the price of gold. One thing, the stocks have not followed the price up very much. Certain stocks have, of course, the majors. They've definitely gone up, but the smaller juniors that we work with, that we really believe in, they're not there yet. But at some point, it's going to. Silver is going to make its run. I don't know when, but just look at what happened on Monday, on the 24th, as a precursor to what is actually going to happen. We still have another week to go in the season for gold and silver, meaning usually it runs out right around the beginning of March, a couple of days thereafter when PDAC, which is the big mining conference that I'm going to in Toronto, when that finishes up, then the stocks will run up for a little bit and then they kind of die. I'm not sure that's going to happen this time. I think the cycle is so strong. The forces that are driving up gold and haven't yet driven up silver are so strong that we might see a continuation of it. We might see a consolidation phase, goes down $20, $30. We'll see what happens. But it's very likely that 1,600 is going to become support. It might even be that 1,650 becomes support. You know, Nenner is saying this year around the summer, we'll see $2,500 gold. That's a real possibility, but I'm not sticking my neck out that far. But the forces of the cycle appear to be overwhelming the seasonal aspects of precious metals. So keep your eyes open for that. That's about all we have to say. Why don't you take a look at the website, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Twitter feed is at Kerry Lutz. Facebook page, Financial Survival Network. We've been very active posting on our Facebook account. I've even started playing with Instagram. I was over at the Hard Rock Hotel, the new guitar tower. It's in Hollywood, Florida, to see Jerry Seinfeld over the weekend. Amazing show. In an hour and change of his show, he didn't use one four-letter word, didn't make any political jokes, nothing. And the 5,000 people in the auditorium laughed nonstop for the entire show. And that's the way entertainment should be. Another guy I really like is Sebastian Maniscalco. He is hysterical, a little foul language, but only where it really makes a difference. Otherwise, not so much. So I took pictures of it. Then in my town, there was a double rainbow right over my street. And I got that. So if you take a look at my Insta, as my kiddies call it, it's also on my Facebook and my personal Facebook, I guess. And it's on Twitter. Take a look. Let me know what you think of it. Anyway, that's it for now. Email me, kl@kerrylutz.com. This is Kerry Lutz. Been another Triple Lutz Report. Signing off.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.